welcome to the Flix Forum podcast, where each episode we go back and we look at a Netflix original film in the order of release. Today we are checking out Netflix 421st film from 2021. It's the action thriller called Kate. This one's directed by Cedric Nicolas-Troyan and stars Mary Elizabeth Winstead, Miku Martineau, Woody Harrelson and Jun Kunimura. I am Jesse and I am your host. Thank you for joining me today for this Netflix original film. As always, if this is a film you haven't seen yet, you haven't got around to watching and you're interested in checking it out, give us a pause and come back a little bit later on, because I am going to spoil this film as we go through this discussion. And we always start our show with the Fast Flicks, where we do a quick little summary of what the film is all about. So this one, it's about an assassin who is poisoned and has 24 hours to live and get her revenge on those who did it. Ooh, intriguing. If that intrigues you and you don't know much, there you go, last chance. We're going to get into how this one ended up on Netflix. So the tagline for this film is "There's no time for mercy." There we go. On revenge, the idea of mercy and the idea there's no time, because our main protagonist, Kate, is dying. On Netflix, their logline is "They killed her, ... but not fast enough." Fatally poisoned and with only hours to live, an elite assassin sets out on a mission to avenge her own murder. Ooh, intriguing. And then as you're watching and you pause the film, Netflix goes on to say, "Slipped a fatal poison on her final job, a ruthless assassin working in Tokyo has less than 24 hours to find out who ordered the hit and exact revenge." There we go, revenge. That's what this film is about. Around the world, so in English, obviously, Kate, the title, is the name of our main protagonist. In Hindi, it's Cat, like C-A-T, the animal. Maybe that's just the translation of the name. In Chinese, it's called Desperate Kate, and in Vietnamese, it's called Female Assassin Kate. There we go. They all make sense except the cat. Meow. In October of 2017, Netflix acquired Umair Aleem's script, Kate, and I think this is the guy that worked on Extraction, the other Netflix big film that you may know, alongside David Leitch, Kelly McCormick, Brian Uncless, and Scott Morgan producing the film. The film was greenlit with a production budget of about $25 million, which is in a pretty good range for a Netflix original film. The screenplay was later voted onto that blacklist in December of that year. The blacklist being the list of the best screenplays that have been unproduced. In December of 2018, Cedric Nicolas-Troyan signed on to direct the film, and then we skip forward to April of 2019, where Mary Elizabeth Winstead was cast to star in the film. In July of 2019, Woody Harrelson joined the cast, and in September, the rest of the cast were announced. Filming began on September the 16th, 2019 and concluded on November the 29th, 2019, including locations such as Thailand, Tokyo in Japan, Hawaii, and Los Angeles in California. Winstead had previously worked with stunt performer Hayley Wright on the film Gemini Man and trained with her extensively before filming began. Winstead appreciated that they had both a background in dance and moved in the same way. Unfortunately, Wright, the stunt performer, was injured on the first day of filming in Thailand, so they had to bring in some other stunt performers. Members of the Japanese all-female hard rock group called Band Maid appear in the film as themselves and also contribute to the soundtrack. This did premiere at the Dayville American Film Festival on the 7th of September 2021 before hitting Netflix worldwide on the 10th of September 2021. The film was also nominated at the American Cinema Editors Award for Best Edited Motion Picture Non-Theatrical. Not too bad a nomination when you think about it. There we go. What are the critics and audiences saying about this film? So on Rotten Tomatoes, this sits at 45%. That's on 95 reviews. So that is on the rotten side. The same with the audience. Sits at 52%. That's on more than 1,000 ratings. So not very positive there. Have to say a little bit better on IMDb. It sits at a 6.3 out of 10 on 76,000 ratings. So positives there. Letterboxd a 2.9 out of 5 on 77,500 ratings. That's a lot of ratings, and it's been logged by over 100,000 people. So you'd say a few people have watched this one. On Metacritic, however, that traffic light system of red, yellow, and green, the critics have it at 47 out of 100 on 22 reviews. That's yellow, and the same for the audience, also yellow at a 5.9 out of 10 on 102 reviews. So you'd say mixed reactions from audiences and critics around the world. What are my early thoughts on this one? I think it works as an easy action film to sort of chuck on in the background and not have to worry too much about. As a meaningful character piece, I'm probably not sold on that, but it's okay. It doesn't do anything new. Let's talk about the characters, and that's probably where I lead off from that Fast Flicks, the character development. It's very hard to talk about the characters because there's not much there. We've got Kate, the main character. She's this assassin. We find out she was an orphan and brought up in this assassin-type world. She's the anti-hero who, as the audience, we're begged to empathize with her, even though the work she does is questionable. And she won't kill anyone in front of children, so I guess, yeah, she's okay. And the idea of this is that she wants to retire because she thinks she wants to retire because she's obviously seen someone shoot at a child, and I think she wants to have her own children, and I think that she comes across or thinks that she's strong-willed and minded, but she's followed orders all her life as well, so that's a little bit tricky there. Varric, played by Woody Harrelson, this is Kate's mentor and handler. He preys on vulnerable and lost souls. You can tell from the moment you see him on the screen for the first time that this guy is not a great guy. The other characters that play some roles, the next biggest character would be Annie, and she's the niece of the top Japanese crime boss called Kijima, and she witnesses the death of her father by Kate, and the two are put together to work. So her and Kate create this bond, which is obviously going to lead to conflict at some stage. But in the meantime, Annie represents this thing that Kate's always wanted, I think, which is family and children, which they try to show with her zooming in, looking at kids in shops and things like that. Renji is this Yakuza to Kijima, and Kijima, his aging boss, who's Annie's uncle, wants Kate dead. This is literally beat the bad guy sort of film. The director, Cedric Nicolas-Troyan, only his second feature film after The Huntsman, Winter's War, which was a sequel to the Snow White and the Huntsman, which he also did visual effects on as well, and has a bit of a name in visual effects. So did the English adaptation of The Ring, 1 Hour Photo with Robin Williams. So this guy's been working for a while, as well as Pirates of the Caribbean, The Curse of the Black Pearl. So been working in Hollywood for quite a while. Let's talk about some scenes. What are some scenes that work? What scenes didn't work? Stuff that stood out. I think Kate at the club taking guys out, and then more guys and more guys. It was shot really well. It was a good little action sequence. The same with when Kate kidnaps Annie, and Annie sees Kate bleeding and says, F you, cancer, B word, B-I-T-C-H, and Kate pulls a gun on her. That was quite funny. Kate locks Annie in a toilet and then takes on a lot of guys, and there's moments with electricity wires and cooking grills, and the sound, it was so loud and so electrifying. The speakers that, as I was listening, were shaking with each gunshot, so well put together. Kate reveals to Annie that she's dying, and she doesn't want her around, and I liked the moment between them because Annie's still on board telling Kate that Kate needs her to get through these last few hours of her life. And I think she said girl power. That was a nice little moment. And Kate and Annie working together to take this henchman out in it was like a luxurious sort of apartment. And even though Annie's freaking out that she got blood on her, it was nice to see them working together. Things that didn't work. Kate steals a car at the start. It highlighted the world, which was good, but the car was very neon. It was very CGI. It was very fake. That stood out as not great. Annie takes a selfie with a passed out Kate in like a taxi. That just felt weird. And the big boss final battle, there's like a sword fight that ends in one move. There's grenades. There's that gimmick of flying papers around with gunshots to highlight the fight. I just didn't like that. I thought it was pretty ordinary. The themes, the ideas. What's this film trying to say? I think the biggest thing in this is the idea of Westerners and gorging on cultures that they don't understand, and Western interventions and the white savior. All those ideas play a role in this film. Family plays a big part too, especially in that Japanese culture of Yakuza. If you can't trust your family, who can you trust? Through Kate, we see the idea of redemption and retribution and revenge, but also that idea of morality and identity and who do you align yourself with and how do you succeed in life. What else did I take away from this film? I think like the neon world, I touched on this before, the neon world that's created for the film, it's really effective. It feels like a world I'd like to visit, a really cool location, looks great throughout. If only they spent as much time on the visual designs as they did the script. IMDb. Sometimes we jump onto IMDb to look someone up. I didn't do that. I jumped on the internet because I wanted to look up these are good moments throughout the film. Kate is after this soft drink called Boom Boom Lemon throughout. And I was like, I've been to Japan. There's lots of cool different drinks and soft drinks and things like that. And just the idea, like some humorous moments of her chasing this drink. And I had to look it up to see where can you get this drink, but I found out it's fictional. It's not real. It was made for the film. So there we go. Some good moments with Boom Boom Lemon. Some questions, some pondering, some thoughts to finish this off. I mean, could there have been a more uninspiring title like Kate? Like, come on, like, I don't know. It just feels lazy. I feel like there could have been something more creative done with the title. I don't know. I've read a lot online about this film, and I know a lot of people think that Mary Elizabeth Winstead as Kate keeps this film together, and I just couldn't help think, and I wrote this down as I was watching the film, like a Scarlett Johansson or someone may have given more to this film. I don't know. I just wasn't sold with the performance, and maybe that's just me. Also, a little bit of humor may have worked and made this better. Maybe just some more laughable moments than such a serious film, especially as an audience, as you know that the film is a countdown to someone's death, that you've got 24 hours to learn and empathize with, even though her profession is as an assassin. It just felt weird. And as I was watching, I literally wrote this down. Woody Harrelson is phoning this performance in. He would have taken that paycheck and walked away and been like, cool, I've made some money, because he gives very little to this performance. Last observation. Japan. Japan has so many standout car brands. And I guess maybe not so much on the luxurious end, but the bad guys in this film, they're driving Audis and Mercs. I just felt weird that you'd have these European type cars as the standouts for the villains to use. And maybe that plays in with that idea of Western culture interfering where it shouldn't. But I don't know, that's just my take. I'm ready to wrap it up. We give the film a rating out of 5 on this show. For me, like, I kept thinking, like, what's the point of the film? Like, and all I could come up with was that idea of Westerners shouldn't involve themselves in cultures that aren't theirs. But I think maybe that's too much credit for the film, because at the end of the day, it's a bit like a video game. There's some good action scenes, but I just didn't buy this whole Kate character. So I'm giving it 2.5 out of 5. I did like the visuals. 2.5 out of 5 for me. We're on socials. We have Twitter. We have Facebook. And we have X, formerly known as Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. Give us a follow. Give us a like if you can. The question that I wanted to ask is, does the film remind you of a video game? Because this film is literally Kate kills one boss and moves on to the next boss, then takes out the next boss until we get to the end. That's my thoughts. What are your thoughts? Other than that, we will be back next week with an international film from 2021. It's the German thriller called Prey. This one is directed by Thomas Sieben and stars David Cross, Hanno Koffler, and Maria Eikrich. There we go. Give that one a watch if you're interested. I will be here for that one. Other than that, look after yourself, and I'll see you next week.